Are you looking for a new gaming laptop under $1,200? Guess what? You're in the right place. In this video, we're diving into the best gaming laptop you can get in this price range. Let's get straight to it. The laptop that impressed me the most is the MSI Katana 17 with a model number B13VFK835US. As you can see, it's currently priced at $1,199.99, which is under our $1,200 limit. But as always, let's take a look at the price history. And here we find something very interesting. This laptop usually costs around $1,400, so the current price of $1,200 is the lowest it has ever been in the last 3 months. The processor in this laptop is the Intel Core i7-13620H. This is a processor with 10 cores, 6 of them are performance cores, and 4 are efficiency cores. The performance cores can reach a maximum turbo frequency of up to 4.9 GHz. And I bet you're already bored because this stuff doesn't really matter to most of us, right? What's important is that this is a powerful processor capable of running multiple programs simultaneously without issues. So you can watch videos and game at the same time without a hitch. And crucially, it ensures that the graphics card isn't bottlenecked. And that's exactly the case here. This laptop comes with the NVIDIA RTX 4060, and I want to get straight to the point here. How much FPS can we expect in different games? To answer that, let's dive into the benchmarks. Apex Legends at 1080p high settings gives us more or less 210 FPS with a 1% low of 170 FPS. A beautiful rendition of the game, I should say. Counter-Strike 2 at 1080p high settings gives us an average of about 210 FPS as well, with a 1% low of 107 FPS. Not bad. By the way, we are currently in the process of developing our own game for PC. More about that at the end of the video. Battlefield 5 at 1080p ultra settings gives you an average of 105 FPS with a 1% low of about 81 FPS. Seriously, a game as graphically intensive as this one running smoothly on this laptop is no ordinary feat. Doom Eternal at 1080p ultra settings gives you around 160 FPS, sometimes even as high as 190 FPS with a 1% low of 132 FPS. Forza Horizon 5 at 1080p ultra settings gives you around 115 FPS and a 1% low of 100 FPS. Fortnite at 1080p epic settings runs at an average of 92 FPS, sometimes well over 100 FPS, with a 1% low of 60 FPS. GTA 5 at 1080p very high settings gives you anywhere between 85 FPS to 95 FPS on average, with a 1% low of 76 FPS. Overwatch at 1080p ultra settings gives you 135 FPS on average, with a 1% low of 107 FPS. Red Dead Redemption 2 at 1080p ultra settings gives out 63 FPS on average, with a 1% low of 55 FPS. This is simply amazing, in my opinion. And lastly, Valorant at 1080p high settings gives out 280 FPS on average, sometimes even above 300 FPS, with a 1% low of 145 FPS. Now, to sum it up, the NVIDIA RTX 4060 has no issues playing all of these games, often hitting more than 100 FPS. Even AAA games with high settings present no problems at 1080p resolution. Now, let's talk about the display. It's a 17.3-inch Full HD IPS level display with 144 Hz refresh rate. IPS means excellent color accuracy and stable viewing angles, along with low response times and high refresh rates. In games like Valorant, you'll actually see the FPS you're rendering, allowing for super smooth gameplay. The larger 17.3-inch screen size provides a more immersive experience, but it also makes the laptop a bit harder to transport than a 15.6-inch laptop. Also, if the display is not enough, you can always connect a 120Hz 4K display via the HDMI 2.1 port, which I recommend when you have a specific place at home for your laptop. And if you're also searching for a secondary monitor to pair with your laptop, then I recommend this one. This laptop comes with 32 GB of DDR5 5.2 GHz RAM, which is excellent and more than enough for gaming and multitasking. But it's also sufficient if you want to edit videos, do 3D modeling, things like that. This laptop also comes with a 1TB M.2 PCIe NVMe Gen 4 SSD, which offers data transfer rates of up to 7 gigabits per second. Yes, you heard that right, 7,000 megabits per second. In other words, Windows boots up in just a few seconds and load times are barely noticeable. Once you experience this kind of speed, you won't want to go back ever. Now, 1 terabyte is sufficient. I don't think you need to upgrade that anytime soon. And these are all the ports and connectivity options available. I won't go through each and every one of them, but the key point here is that you have HDMI 2.1. This means you can theoretically game in 4K at 120Hz on an external monitor or TV. However, keep in mind that the RTX 4050 might not be able to render most games at that resolution and refresh rate, but for games like Minecraft or Valorant, it's perhaps possible. What I find really cool is that Windows 11 license is already included. This means you can unbox the laptop and start using it right away without having to buy a license from some shady website. Now, we've made sure that the laptop is sold and shipped directly by Amazon. This way, you get Amazon's warranty, which in my case is very customer friendly. Most of the time, they'll either refund your money or provide a replacement product if something goes wrong. Now, if you're convinced, then go ahead and scan this QR code to check the current price. If you purchase the laptop through our link, we'll receive 1 to 3% of the purchase price at no extra cost from you. We'll use 100% of the money we've earned towards developing our dream video game. Link to our devlogs can be found in the description box below, as well as in the comments. Thank you for your support. This has been Marty, and I'll be seeing you on the next video. Cheers!